Hello there everyone, this is Phantom Duels here and today I'm going to be doing what if Deku was hated by 1A and 1B but were sent to the seraph of the end part 2. So this part I'm going to post it today and the other what if you guys voted for on the community tab, I'm going to be making it and then posting it next week on Friday. So yeah, we're going to be starting at the Shinsuku 5th Street Industry. The main forces battle, and Goran opens it up by killing two vampires with a swing of his sword. Goran fights back with Tsurui. She tells him that she and Mito will back him up if he goes after the commander. Ferret watches the scene from a perch, overlooking the battles, and states that things are getting interesting. He says he says that would be even more interested if Crowley had made it. So okay, good dang it. As he said, if Crowley had made it, so he orders Lucid and Reen to round up the other vampires and hold off everyone but the reckless one. In other words, Goran. He jumps down next to Mika. He says he says that perhaps we'll get to see the third progenitor, Cruel Tempest's favorite in action. As Goran runs at them, Ferret tells Mika that the two of them will kill Goran. In response, Mika states that he can handle Goran himself. Ferret impressed. Mika mentions making Goran regret ever provoking him. He commands his sword and oh sorry, dang it. It wraps it wraps around It wraps his hand in red horny veins. Elsewhere we see Izuku, Yu, and Shinoa coming back with the rest of their squad to help Goran, but after a while Yu states that he will kill all the vampires, and they head to the front lines. On the front lines, Goran and Mika clash swords. Goran commands that Mika is strong, but Mika states that Goran is not strong. Goran returns his sword into his scabbard and quickly attaches a spell tag on Mika, ordering it to explode. The explosion is enough to take down one building and makes quite of a mess, but Mika is unharmed. Goran teases him, but Mika asks if he believes in such an old and slow spell would really work on it against a vampire. Ferret laughs, praising Mika about his power and arrogance. He orders he offers to help Mika, but Mika asks why Ferret thinks he might lose. Ferret points out the trap laid by Shiguri and states that the humans do not plan to play one-on-one. Goran Orange Shiguri attack, followed by Goshi's solution. Mika dodges their attacks and Goran takes the opportunity to attack Mika from behind. Mika begins turning to defend himself, but Ferret steps between them and blocks Goran's attack himself. Ferret says Mika owns them one and backhands Goran, sending Goran flying through numerous objects as his squad looks on horror. Goran gasps for air, stating this is worse than he thought. He says the silver-haired vampire is extremely strong. Ferret warns Mika not to underestimate the humans, stating they are tricky, greedy, and sneaky. He says it feels weird to say that to a former human, but Mika tells him to shut up. Ferret wants to fight at Mika's side, but Mika says that he will be fine on his own because he now knows how humans operate. Mika orders his sword to drink more of his blood. Ferret asks if that arrogance comes from being a human until recently. Goran checks his time and pulls out his container of pills. He says that it looks like he will need to take two of them. Hearing this, Suridi is fighting against Lucas, strongly disagrees. Lucas warns her not to look away, and Mito appears next to him and repeats the advice. She punches, but Lucas dodges. but with only a cut on his cheek. The two women tell Goran that he will die if he takes 2 pills, but he answered that they will die if he does not. Mika asks if he is done talking. Goran commands on his politeness and requests another 20 seconds to take his medicine. But Mika attacks Goran, mentioning that Mika is faster than before. Mika says he is not holding back, and Goran calls him childish. Mika disarms Goran and knocks him down. Goran's curses. Ferret notices Shinoa's squad arriving and orders Mika to hurry up. Mika stabs Goran through the chest in rage. Yu charges at him and draws his sword. Mika murmurs about how annoying it is now that another human's challenging him. He turns around and immediately recognizes Yu. He makes no movement to defend himself as Yu pierces him through the chest with his own curse gear. It is only as Mika's blood spills that Yu has a surprising confused expression on his face. As Izuku saw his face and said to Shinoa he is going to get hurt. But then the squad was looking at Izuku and was confused until it happened. Yu takes a few steps towards Mika, but Goran punches him in the face, demanding to know why did he not kill the vampires when he had the chance. Before Yu could answer, Izuku says not to worry about him. He's going to be fine as Goran deploys a painful expression as blood gurgles from his mouth. As Goran tells him to stop worrying and look forward, he reminds Yu that this is a battlefield. As everyone was yelling at Yu because of what he had done, but Izuku has had enough of them and said to shut up already. We have to fight vampires and you guys are fighting him over one mistake, glaring at all of them, but not you. As they stop saying anything, then Yu asks to make sure that the vampire was Mika. As Mika stands up, Yu begins to cry. Ferric calls it the cue reaction and says he can see why Mika is so attached to him. Ferris says that he is almost in tears just watching and asks Mika what happens now. After all, Yu is probably being used by those humans. Mika says that he will save him, but Ferris replies that Yu as a human will never accept them. Then he offers to turn Yu into a vampire, but Mika responds by grabbing Ferret's neck and threatening to kill him if he lays a hand on Yu. Ferret says that he is just kidding, and it is unlike Mika to get fired up, grasping Mika's shoulder and looking over at the humans with Yu. Ferret offers to give Mika a hand instead. He says that he will stop the other humans while Mika saves his princess. Mika making fun of Yu. Suryu calls out Goran's name, but she is still fighting Lucas. Mito rushes in, noticing this. Lucas kicks Suryu away and intercepts her. He swings his sword, causing a cloud of dust, cutting her cheek. Suryu blocks part of the attack by throwing 2 spell tags in the way. Goji and Shuri joins them since the vampires will not let them through. They decided that they must kill the vampires to get to Goran. Goji commands that is easier said than done. Rina appears, suggesting that they give up, but then when Izuku saw that Goran was getting beaten up, he said, "Oh well, I guess I have to fight." As Izuku saw Ferret punching Goran and holding him against a wall, as Izuku did what Miko was about to do and cut Ferret's arm off, which made Goran shocked as Izuku said, "I can't let you kill him." Mika approaches Yu and Yu's legs give out. Mika puts his sword away and he asks Yu to leave everything behind and escape with him. Yu asks Mika what is he talking about and why is he with Ferret. Mika rushes his question and aside and carries him in his arms. As Izuku saw Mika do what he did and said to Ferret, "I'll send you away from here," as he grabs Ferret, punching him into a building, but the punch felt like he was attacked by 100 punches. As the building fell on top of Ferret, we see Yu goes through his transformation. Yu screams as the dark mass plunges from his upper left side of his back into a wicked black sculpture. The scar on his right eye is now red, with his left eye has a black became a dark pit, a black dark pit. Hearing the screams from Yu as he saw why Yu was doing this, he saw everyone in the squad getting close to being bitten by the vampires, but then Izuku went blank because Fairy was still alive. He had stabbed Izuku on the chest as Izuku saw the end, his demon, and he spoke saying, "It's goodbye, kid. I'm going to give you my life. It's time for you to become who you truly are meant to be in this world." As the end fused with Izuku, and Izuku said these words, "I choose who lives and who dies. I am the end." As Izuku's eyes started to glow red and black wings grew from his back with horns on his head, as Izuku has lost full control, as he suddenly disappears in a speed not even a vampire can see, or even a progenitor, or anyone, which then Izuku grabs the head of Ferret and was about to rip it off until Crowley, who was going to attack you, yes, he finally appeared, who was going to attack you, decided to attack Izuku, who disappeared and grabbed Crowley, looking at him as he was stopped by Shinoa already. But Izuku was still in attack mode. Crowley's arm was ripped off and erased as Izuku threw Crowley away into a building. But then Ferris said, "Everyone, get away from here," as Izuku was going to move, but before he could do anything, Izuku fell into the ground, losing all the power, which got him to go into a deep sleep just like you. As Goran said to Shinoa, "Get those two somewhere safe." When Goran said that, he saw what Izuku and you had done to those powerful vampires, but he saw that Izuku's power was too strong to control, so he knew that Izuku was part of those people with incredible powers who carry out missions on the other side of the battlefields. Which we skip a few weeks later, which we see Shinoa recalls memories about the previous battle. As she walks downstairs, deep underground, she recalls Yu's and Izuku's sudden transformation. As how Goran expected this to happen. How when the main army arrives, she tells Goran that she has something she wanted to ask him about later. He tells her that he is not interested, so she should not talk to him. Goran is in an office overlooking all of them. As he examines data, she enters and states she has been looking for him for the past 5 days. He apologizes for her trouble but refuses to answer any questions. She says Yu has yet to wake up since his transformation. She asks Goran what he is doing with Yu and re- and reveals that he specially ordered her to give him a special drug combination instead of the drug soldiers normally take because Goran claimed Yu's gear was special. She asked about Yu's losing control and if it's due to the drug, but then she asked what about Izuku? Who is he and why was his transformation worse than you? But Goran said if you want to know more about him, go find Group A and Group B. They will tell you who he is, Shinoa. As Shinoa left, going to find both of these groups instead of asking for more questions about use, which got Goran to be relieved. But after a while, Shinoa found the groups training on the training grounds of the Moon Demon Company. As Aizawa saw her and asked her, "Is there something you need?" Shinoa then said, "Who is Izuku?" As Aizawa looked at her and said, "Wait, Izuku's alive? Where is he?" Shinoa said, "He's alive, but he's in the hospital right now. But before I take you to him, I want to know, who is he and why is he this powerful?" Aizawa understood and started to explain why Izuku had these powers. He told her that Izuku wished to become something that he didn't hear. But when his wish has been granted, they brought us to this world, and this thing suddenly said, "You people have chosen your fate." When When the words were over, Izuku disappeared and we were brought here. As out of nowhere, a fully awakened Izuku appeared right next to Shinoa, but they didn't care. But Izuku didn't care enough. Oh wait, sorry, I messed up. Izuku says, hmm, Izuku says they didn't care enough to come looking for me, but I saw what you tried. Ashino and Izuku, Ashino and Izuku were looking at each other, and Shinoa asked, "When did you wake up?" "Well, right now, so I just came here and found you." As Izuku dodges an attack from Bakugo, who was mad, who was mad about seeing him still alive, as Izuku's hair was covering his eyes. Finally shown they were fully red. But then Izuku grabbed Bakugo by the legs and slammed him to the ground of the training grounds, leaving a giant hole on the ground, knocking him out. As Izuku said, "I am the strongest in this place now." Looking at everyone in the class 1A and 1B, as Aizawa didn't see this coming, All Might tried to hit Izuku, but Izuku let the punch hit him, which led to Izuku smiling. Then we travel to Izuku's mindscape, where he's sitting down by himself next to a trumpet, as he said, "I guess I'll be here with listening every day, or every time I go to my mind." Then we go to the real world, where Deku says, "Is that all you got, All Might?" As Izuku punches All Might into a wall, leaving All Might unconscious. But after that, Shinoa told him, let's go, Izuku." As Izuku said, "Got it." Then we skip a few weeks later, as under those weeks you woke up and everything happened as in the anime. But then we come to the present time, and this is where I'm gonna be leaving it off. Thank you guys for watching my what if. Sorry about the cliffhanger, but I'm gonna have to be working on part 1 of the redo of what if Issei was the reincarnation of Goku. So goodbye. This is Phantom Duels, and see ya.